2023 meeting to order. Welcome everybody here tonight, both here and anybody that might be watching on YouTube. We have a quorum at this time, and we are expecting one more council member who's been caught up in traffic a little bit, and then one that will not be here tonight. So again, welcome to everybody, and if you'll bow with me, we'll have Our Father in heaven, we're thankful for this another day and the opportunity to gather together here, Lord. We're thankful that you blessed us, and we pray that you'll continue to bless everyone in this community and in this area, Lord. We just ask that you be with us now as we go into this meeting. Help us make the right decisions, the decisions that would be pleasing to you. We ask now that you go with us and forgive us our many sins. Amen. All right, got a set of minutes there from March. Y'all had a chance to look at them?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Discussion? Anybody? All right. Not all in favor, say aye. Aye. Minutes are approved unanimously. We'll go to public business. Anybody here? I know Miss Pam wants to talk to us. Hop up there and tell us what you got on your mind.
Thank you for allowing me to come today. And I don't think our police officers are here, but I want to thank the police officers that have been sitting in that alley there. And I know people have been really upset, but if a child comes out and get killed, you know, I don't think that it's reasonable to ask them to slow down or to stop at that stop sign.
You mean people upset because the police department doing their job?
Because they're getting tickets, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well.
But, you know, I'm sorry.
There's a way to avoid that.
It is. Yeah. And that's called doing the right thing. Yes, that's exactly right. But I wanted to thank them for such a great effort in helping, because our little ones are our future, and we need to continue to do what we can for them. One of the things I want to talk about is we are planning a remodeling for the library. So there's going to be a lot of activity going on. The library will be closed 2 or 3 weeks. They will be closed. We are looking at a bin like you have outside there that might be put in front. Everything I'm talking about is going to be finalized tomorrow. But I wanted to talk with y'all first and give you an idea of what's going on, because I don't want to do anything that's out of line myself. So we're thinking of renting that bin to set it out front so that we can put the necessary materials in it and get it taken away the right way. I have asked for a purple awning. I don't know if that's going to happen. Historic and I are kind of, but I have asked for a purple awning, and there are going to be quite a few changes, but they're changes for the better. We've been in that building quite a few years, and it's time to update it and get it better together.
When will it be closed? Do you know?
They're thinking the 2nd and 3rd week in May. Possibly the 4th week in May. It's just right now it's up in the air, and we'll find out more definite tomorrow. And I will come back and give you the definite thing if you have another meeting before then.
We probably won't.
But yeah, that's why I wanted to let you know. And if it's not okay, then I want you to let me know that it's not okay. So
take care of the library.
Well, I don't want to do anything that's not the right thing. Yeah, I'm always thinking about everyone else and what's right. The main thing I wanted to talk about today was an eclipse party. On October 14th, we're having an eclipse. And I am preparing for a community get-together. I don't necessarily know if we need to close the square or anything like that. But once again, whatever we decide to do, I don't want to do it without you having knowledge of what we're doing.
What day is that on?
That's on a Saturday. And there's a wine train coming in that particular day. But the eclipse is supposed to happen around 10 in the morning. So I was thinking of having, you know, a little get together there for everyone. I already have the glasses. I have crafts we can do. I'm thinking of a band.
Okay.
I've already been to Historic Watertown and they're willing to help. I'm going next week to the chamber and see if they're willing to help. And surely both of those entities, we can come up with the money to pay for a little band to kind of play for a little while. You know, just a little entertainment, nothing out of the way. But it's a community event. I want the community to be involved.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, April of next year is another eclipse. So we have a way to fix your glasses in a case that you can keep them until the next eclipse in April of next year. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk with y'all today. I don't necessarily think we need to close the square or anything like that, but I want it to be a community event and have people come out, bring their kids, and you know, we talk about the eclipse, what it's all about, and get them to do little crafty things that they can take back home with them.
What about blocking off the middle part of the square around it?
Well, that might be okay.
We've done some of that before.
Yeah.
We've done
Yeah, that's
roads
fine.
and- okay.
That's fine. But you know, in the middle of the eclipse, it's gonna be totally, you know, dark, or well, not totally dark, but it will be dark anyway, so.
Okay.
And I wanna make it safe for everyone to be able to wear their glasses and look and see.
So it's a full eclipse?
Yes, it is,
Wow.
It sure is.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you asking, are you asking anything
I'm
of us
asking,
today?
I'm asking for permission to be able to do this, because I want it to be a community-wide thing.
Okay.
And, I'm asking if you would allow me, if we need to close off the square, we can talk with the police and see. But if we need to close off the square, that's fine, but I don't want everybody to be out of the way. But
Okay.
I do wanna make it a fun event for people.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is so I recommend this to the council. Y'all okay with holding this event, and then we can talk about the details a little later about
Yes,
what
sir.
you need done.
Yes, sir, because it's in October, so that gives us time.
And welcome, Larry. I'm sorry I didn't when you came in.
Sorry for us.
Yeah,
being late.
got caught up in the traffic.
I did,
I
yeah.
did too.
I mean, it's almost a solid line of traffic to Lebanon.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So I appreciate you giving me time. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there a motion and a second to?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
We appreciate you giving us the vase and the bowl.
Oh, yes, yes,
Yeah.
because doing the remodeling, some of these things, they need a good home.
Well, we can find,
Yeah,
if there,
a good home.
if you got other things, we might find a good home
Well,
for
we do have the picture of the family of the Waters.
them. Okay.
I can make a trade if they could give us the purple line.
Oh, if y'all would be okay with the purple line.
I'm good with purple line. Everything around here is purple.
I
I'm
know, that's
good.
what I was telling them, why is it such a big thing? But I think Historic doesn't want it as bright, but let's talk about it.
Yeah, we probably will. We probably will. Okay, Pam, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all for coming over, appreciate it.
Oh, we appreciate it.
You're welcome here anytime.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right, anybody else from the public want to address us? Yes, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine. And you?
I'm well. My name's Tom Bell.
Okay,
I am a proud member of the Watertown Fire Department.
Okay.
But aside of that, that's not why I'm here.
okay,
I run a nonprofit organization called Flex for a Cause.
okay,
And we are looking at possibly getting permission to bring our family event to Watertown.
Okay.
Basically what it is a fundraising event to support our efforts in providing funding for neuromuscular disease research for
Okay.
muscular dystrophy. I lost my son in 2018 to Duchenne's muscular dystrophy at the age of 13. The last 3 years of his life, he participated in research studies.
okay,
He said, let's do what we got to do to try to help the kids of the future.
okay,
And we built on that foundation. And what I'm asking for is permission to bring my event to Watertown. We'll bring a lot of people, we'll bring a lot of eyes on Watertown, money to the town, And I have one of my sponsors that is really behind this. He's willing to make a $1,000 donation to the city to split between the fire department and the police department. Also pay for 2 off-duty officers to be
Okay.
in the area around the square. We're wanting to move it around the square and then in the field area right here at the car wash. Just a family festival event, car show, live music in the center of the square. Not hindering the businesses. We want all the businesses to have, everybody to have access to the businesses of the town.
Okay.
All of our funding goes to providing for these kids. I'm actually have a family here today, little Declan.
I saw that man come in.
He has Duchenne's.
Okay.
And he's been, we've been lucky and fortunate enough to help his family. And,
Good.
We've grown really close, and they wanted to be here in support of that.
Good. How old is he?
Declan, you are 9.
9. He's a proud 9.
Yes, sir.
There
Yes,
you
sir.
go.
Yes, sir. And I don't know if you're familiar with Duchenne's muscular dystrophy or not.
Well, somewhat, but
Yeah, it's,
tell me.
we're not going to stop fighting.
Tell me when and.
We're looking at September 23rd. It's on a Saturday.
Okay. And time, that type of thing?
10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Is the actual event time. Of course, we'll have people that'll start coming in between 8 and 9.
Okay.
And everybody should be set in place, ready to rock and roll no later than 9:30.
Do you need, I thought I heard you say you weren't going to interfere with the businesses or anything. so-
Correct. We want all the businesses to be open, pedestrian traffic to the businesses and everything else. If we can close down the square, that's why we're offering to pay for the law enforcement to be on scene, and also have a private certified security company that is willing to render their services as well.
Okay. Well, I appreciate what you're saying, but we're not looking to make money off this event. We're looking
Oh,
to
I
help-
got you.
help
I got you. And that was a suggestion of one of my sponsors, just because he really thinks that Watertown and Flex will be a good mesh, and hopefully we can make this an annual thing.
Well, I think that, I like what you're saying.
I appreciate it.
Have you talked to the chamber and the folks about your event yet?
I have not yet, sir, no.
The only, I gotta stay up here. The only hesitation I have is about closing the square, but if you can meet with the Chamber of Commerce, their next meeting or whatever, and get their blessing,
Okay.
so that they're not calling me saying, what are you doing closing the square or whatever. But if you can do that, or figure out a way to do it where it doesn't interfere with some of the businesses that are open Saturday, I think you'll find a welcome here. But before we vote on it, if you would talk to them and make sure they're okay with it.
Okay, so as far as just to make sure we're on the same page of the definition of closing, what do you consider closing?
Well, I have to kick that question back to you. What do you consider that you need?
Well, to me, it'll be open and accessible.
I know, but we're talking about traffic now. I'm talking
Now,
about,
as far as regular, normal, everyday traffic flow, it may be a conflict just because of the fact that we are going to have people that's going to be walking around looking at the cars, crossing the
what-
streetway and stuff like that. But as far as the businesses being open and pedestrian traffic allowance, 100%, yes.
we're not talking about closing down businesses.
No.
We're talking about what to do with the traffic.
Yes,
That's
yes,
the issue.
correct.
And I have a question. You said, where are you planning on the car show being?
Around the square, and then we'll have cars leading into the field right here at the car wash, the old car wash. We'll stage them off in there too.
Okay, now that's not city property there.
Yeah, we're working on that.
Okay.
Yeah, we've already got that in the workings. It's
Okay.
just, before we can further that step, we've got to get
Okay.
across this stepping stone first.
All right. Other questions?
Well, I just know typically we don't do car shows on the square. They're normally either in the bank parking lot.
First Baptist Church parking lot.
At church parking lot. I mean, that's my only concern is if you're actually having the car show in the square, that would be my only question as to whether or not, one, I don't know if the chamber would go for that with the businesses on the square.
Right.
You know, but there are adjoining parking lots that have been used in the past.
And we will have approximately, you know, it could be anywhere from 150 to 300 cars. You know, because this is our 5th year and we've grown every year as far as participation, support, and, you know, community coming out and getting involved. And we've got a real big thing this year. We've got a hot rod that we're actually giving away at the show this year.
Tom, we'll hold that date for you. You get your details worked out and come back to us.
Okay, sir. All right, thank you, fair enough.
Is that fair enough,
Yes, sir.
everybody?
Thank you.
Okay. Appreciate you proposing that.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking the time to listen.
All right, anybody else? Okay, IT guys, we got anybody on there that wants to ask a question? No. Okay, good. All right, where's the police department tonight? They were supposed to be first, but I'll hold them till, we'll go on to the fire department. Y'all next in the queue. Come on up, chief.
Hey, boy. So in the monthly report that you got, we had 51 responses in March, 20 of those in the city, 31 in the county, and which comes out to just a little over a call and a half a day. Is there any questions on the report at all? All right. So next thing, I'd like to invite you all over to the station next Saturday, about 6:30. I just thought it'd be a good opportunity to help give y'all some insight on some of our programs that we have over there, gain a little more knowledge on some of our equipment, some of what we're doing over there. So just very informal, just kind of a meet and greet of allowing us to kind of give you some information about the fire department that you may not have, and have the opportunity to ask questions or whatever the case may be. Outside of that, I'd sent a proposal for training grounds. So we had been talking about this for a while. I talked with Chief Jewell years ago, and something that within the department we had been wanting to do for a while. There's a lot of opportunities out there for training buildings and different ways that we can gain funding, different grants, etc. But the issue is just that we don't have a place to put it. So really what we're requesting is to allocate a piece of land specifically over across the creek there in that part of the lot over there to where we could then start doing some fundraising or grants to develop a training center for the future. So that's something that I'd like to bring to y'all and hopefully secure that. I had met with Chief Hinderlight today and kind of come to find out we had both been along the same lines of what we wanted to do over there. I know that he had expressed interest in potentially putting a shooting range and then developing further over there. And so we had came into agreement that if this did come to fruition, that it would be a good opportunity to have a Watertown public safety training area that would be allocated for the backside of there, which wouldn't take up the entire field on that property. So.
Shared training area.
Yeah.
What about the pump for the fire truck? Was there a price on a new pump versus a rebuild pump, or what? I didn't see that in there. Is it just a rebuild option?
That was just the rebuild option.
Okay.
This is the first time I've seen this specific proposal, so I'm not prepared to do anything with it tonight.
And I don't know that we have a copy of.
Yeah. No, I don't think we got that one.
Okay.
I got all the
You're talking about
pumps.
the land?
Yes, sir.
I don't know that.
I had submitted it last Thursday evening, I believe.
It went out Friday afternoon.
Did it?
Yeah, there's one email in the minutes
Okay, there was, okay.
Yeah, it was all together.
Okay, I may have missed that. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I didn't see it till this afternoon either, so you're not alone.
It's in your email? Is it in the fire report? Or is it on? It's in?
It was in the email to everyone. There's an attachment.
Okay, it's in the fire report, that's why. Okay. I see.
I saw the report, I must have missed a second.
Yeah, it was there today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have one question in reference to that. How much, I mean, you have any idea, you talking blocking off a half acre, an acre, I mean, how much?
It's on the.
Yeah,
it's on
we
the-
had initially,
Okay.
in the initial proposal, it was an acre. However, if that goes through and it does develop into more, it would be more beneficial to at least be two. Also, in looking for full credit for having a training facility through ISO, they do require it to be on 2 acres. So it would be a 2 acre at a minimum.
Is there a road option to that land, or is it just landlocked to itself?
Currently, it is Old Statesville, or South Statesville right here across the bridge that
So
goes
it's that
back to
road
the
next to it.
helipad and then from there.
It's got a 50-foot
Yeah, on
access.
this side, yes. Okay.
How much funding would be available if we started a training facility as far as grants and such that you believe we do not currently have access to?
I'm not really sure specifically on that. I don't know that for ISO, that's an area that we've been lacking. So in part of the training criteria in that, they require certain hours of that to be in a facility. So right now, any facility training that we get is either shared or at the state academy where we've got to pay to go there. And then this would be an option to do that in-house, as well as our initial certification. So we do a recruit class. We're able to teach that in-house and get accreditation for that. But kind of the second part of that is to do an initial live burn for new recruits. So right now, our options have been to either pay to go to the state academy for that. We've been doing it ourselves, but using the facility at the Gallatin Fire Department. They've been generous to work us in to be able to use that facility. So we weren't having to pay, but we're having to go out of county and be at the mercy of another department to receive that training, so.
So would the fire department be responsible for maintaining their portion of the training facility? Or are you looking
Yes,
for
sir.
a groundskeeper or anything
Oh,
like
no,
that?
it would be maintained through the fire department.
So that area over there is basically, what, it's 12, 14 acres?
It's about 20,
area?
about 20. You got one ball field over there, and of course, if
Yeah.
you put it in that far corner, then you have to
corner's
drive
3
all the way
acres.
across, so that takes out the rest of the property, because you have to have a
Back
road
corner.
access to it. A lot of questions here that need more information, and I always like to hear about these before they come here.
Yes, sir.
I hadn't heard about this, so. But we're gonna have to talk about cost and that type of thing to spring something like this on us tonight. Okay, other questions? Anybody? All right, you got one other thing here too.
I do. That, of course, it was included last week with that as well, so I'm not sure what all everyone had gotten, but we don't right now currently have a reporting software. We're required by the state to report our incidents, and we're using the state's website to input those in. However, that website a lot of times will go down. It's very much troublesome to use, and a lot of times it's just not in service. And so that often leads to somebody coming back from a call, I can't do a report, I can't get access, that is then forgotten, and then we become backlogged a little bit. So this software allows us to report. It's web-based, and in addition to that, it's also a firehouse management software. So we're able to track hydrants, put in the flow rate, all of that, and put in training, et cetera. All of that is included in it. So basically what that does is you purchase the reporting aspect of it, and then there's separate modules that can be purchased at will. So Assistant Chief Decker had kind of done the research on that for us. He's been the one that's been in touch with finding this software and getting that squared away. And so what we were hoping for is to increase next year's budget to be able to purchase this annually.
You know what the cost is, Blake?
So the initial cost is $3,200. Yeah, you can come up. That's with 500 being the setup, and then 500 being the basic hydrant layout.
Thanks.
Of course, that $3,200 in year 2 would drop down because you wouldn't have the initial setup fee. Assistant Chief Decker there had also put for future growth in that, as far as in the potential of after a year possibly add another couple modules, or then evaluate to see what we could do in year 3. But the initial for that would be $3,200.
So if we commit to this in next year's budget, we're in effect committing for the next 2 years as well.
Sir?
If we commit to this in next year's budget, we will be committing then to the next 2 years after that, the way it's laid out here.
No, sir, it would just be annually. The year 2 and year 3 is just for evaluation. That's for future growth if we decide to do that. That's just
Well-
potential moving forward.
There's something here that says total end cost annually $9,900.
Yeah, that's for the year 3 option for everything that they offer if that was chosen.
So, if I understand you, you're saying that you've got listed as year 2 or year 3, you would come back and make an additional request?
Yes,
If you
yes, that would
decide-
be evaluated, and would we be in a position where we could add these modules or not?
Or
to
need
that.
them, depending on the growth
Absolutely.
that you
Yes.
experience in year 1?
Yes, sir.
Is at the end of year 3, what is the continued cost? Is it just adding modules, or how much is a yearly on their system?
After that, it is the total of that year
So
3.
after year 3, you're
Yeah,
just
that's with-
keeping up with stuff that doesn't break? or whatever?
Absolutely, that is all of the modules there. That's just all of the possibilities that they have, is that end price of $9,900. That would be for the full system.
Yeah.
But there again, we would evaluate that over the course of a couple of years if we needed a certain module or not. What we're asking for right now is just the initial to be able to do the reporting and that year 1 block there.
I think what Kyle's asking, if I say this wrong, you tell me, but, and I know I'm asking this, what will be year 4 cost?
No, it would not change.
So they don't have like a subscription system, in other words. It is just you buying modules and parts and pieces and things that add to this. It doesn't have a update fee or a continuation of what they want to keep up with or
No, sir,
software?
if in year 4 we continued with everything in year 3, it would be the same price as year 3. If in year 3 we decided to continue with what's listed here in year
So
1, it would be that
unless
price.
something that's on this page were to break or fail, that's the only time you have to buy more, in other words.
No. Yeah,
So the way that played out, what's highlighted is what's been added each year.
Uh-huh.
So basically going forward, is $3,200 a year. So if we never want to change that, we would continue to pay $3,200 a year, and that'll keep on base system. And it's a subscription every year, we
So
renew
it's
it every year.
$3,200 a year, and this is just adding 2, and then after you have this, it's just the continuation of $3,200 a year.
Right, and so if the second one, you're gonna drop your 500 for that setup in the first year. And so what's highlighted is what changes the next year and doesn't carry over.
Okay.
So in year 2, we get the system in place, people like it, things have worked out very well. Those blue highlighted in year 2 are what we would look at adding as we get familiar with the program, we get some more programs in place and we continue on. If that stuff, if we don't have the personnel, we're looking at a short year, budget's lacking, we just wouldn't have those in. So we continue with $700 a year because you would drop that $500 salary. So this is basically what shows is the bare minimum in the beginning and the max that we could get out of this program at the end of year 3. And that would be all the models that we'd be interested in. If we weren't interested in those modules, then it's a complete add-on, just, if it's something we wanted to get into. But those highlighted portions are not things that we would carry over next. That's, the 9900 is the biggest picture. We utilize the entire system into year 3, and that would be the max that we would pay for the future until they put out anything. If that clears up.
So you're asking this to be put in next year's budget, $3,200?
Yes, sir, for the initial setup and implementation of it.
Okay. Anything else?
Last thing that we've got is the quote for the repair. Last council meeting, we had talked about the pump going out. We did receive a quote for $20,000 to rebuild that pump. So I just wanted to provide you all previously with some information on different possibilities and see which way that you all wanted for us to go with that.
Is the pump, is it down now?
Yes, sir.
On which engine?
It's the 2000 model International, the one that in the year 2020 was donated by the county. So right now it's a 23-year-old fire truck.
How many pieces of equipment do we have right now functioning in the fire department?
2. As far as pumpers, we have 4 pumpers total, and we have 2 that are operational.
And then what else do we have besides those 2 pumpers?
We have the one with the pump issue, and then the 66 Ford, which is operational, however,
I
it's...
got the pumpers.
Yes.
What else do we have?
Oh, I apologize.
Because we got a full bay. We got, all 6 of the bays are full over there.
Yes, sir.
So what are the other pieces of equipment we have?
A brush truck, a rescue truck, and then a Suburban.
How many pumpers do we need to do what we need to do in this community?
3.
We need 3 pumpers.
That's the evaluation from the ISO. They rate us as a 3-pumper city. They come in and they tell us you're being graded as having 3 pumpers because based on their evaluation, that's what they have decided for us.
So we're 1 pumper short at the moment.
Correct.
For ISO purposes.
For ISO purposes.
But if we have a fire here tonight, we've got 2 pumpers to go to.
Yes, sir.
And a pumper pumps from the fire hydrant.
Yes, sir.
And the pumper's gonna pump, the first one's gonna pump from the closest fire hydrant, and the next one's gonna pump from the next closest fire hydrant.
Potentially, but the first one would go to the house, the second one would go to the hydrant. So we would have 1 engine pump hooked to a hydrant and then have that pump pumping to the second engine to then fight the fire. It is a way to increase our pressure and capabilities.
Okay, you said we had 4 pumpers. What's wrong? You talked about the one that is down. What's the 4th one? Where,
The 66 Ford.
does it work?
It does work, but it's not very dependable.
But it works.
Yes, sir.
When you say it's not dependable, what do you mean? Does it pump water?
It does. It's a stick shift and has no power steering, and it's had problems in the past. The tank is rusting out. It's a metal tank inside, the water tank, and over the years it has began rusting out, and so it's got leaks. By all definition, it will pump. However, it's not very reliable.
It's a Ford.
And the fact that it's a 66 is still pumping.
Says a lot, doesn't it?
The fact that it's 56 years old, 57 years old. Well, I'm gonna be right up front. I've been sitting in this chair now 40 years, And I've always heard from the fire department, we need one more piece of equipment, we need one more piece of equipment. But we got a building over there full of equipment, and every piece of equipment doesn't roll to every fire. So how many pieces of equipment do we need?
Well, I don't say necessarily that we need more equipment. I'm willing to get rid of some equipment and have something that's more reliable. We're spending a lot of money on repairing older apparatus just to keep it going. My concern with this is if we spend $20,000 on a pump rebuild, and if that's the way that we go, that's perfectly fine. However, it's 23 years old now. We've already spent some money on it going. A $20,000 pump rebuild, for how much longer is that going to go on?
The other trucks are older than that truck, aren't they?
Yes, sir. This is the newest one that we have.
96 or
There's a 94, a 95, a 2000, and a 66.
66.
This is probably a good time for me to make this announcement. Y'all been telling me for months that you wanted to get more of a county investment in here. WEMA will be expanding from 2 people to 4 people per shift, and they will be sending another engine up here. So we will have, now, we're gonna have to reconfigure over there to sleep there. And we're gonna have to do that, but you're gonna have an engine provided by the county, and you're gonna have more personnel. Now, that's not to affect our volunteer fire department. They do a great job. But I'm not interested in putting more money into another truck when I got one coming up here. And that's what y'all been asking for, you've been asking me to do. And I talked to the county mayor today and asked him, I said, can I make this announcement tonight? And he said, yes. And Mayor Hutto's been instrumental in getting this done. And it's in this year's budget, they just got to find, we got to find a place to put them. And what they've asked for is they got to have sleeping arrangements for 4. And if it's male and female, they've got to be separated, of course. They need a larger day room, and they need something else. I forget what it was. But we've got more coming. So I'm not real interested in putting a lot of money into a new piece of equipment right now. That's just me. I'm just one vote out of 7. But
So, the equipment that's coming from WEMA, is that a pump, I mean,
my understanding is it's pumped.
it is a pump?
That is a pumper to cover their area in the county that we have been covering for them.
Okay. So
And in the city. They will fight in the city as well. We pay county taxes too.
Okay. So, I guess from my perspective, if the city's got 2, that would be depending on the severity of the incident, that would be another one that would be available in the city if needed.
Yes.
Then that would help reduce some of our county calls, I'm assuming.
They would be covering their county calls.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. Some of the county calls that we now get would be picked up.
Yes, sir.
But our guys would still be going.
Yeah, I mean, our guys may still go.
I've got
go on call.
confidence in them. They'll still be going.
Okay. And do we have a timeline on when WEMA would be provided that?
They would provide it really quickly if I had a place to put them. And that's something, I'm gonna give you after a while a list of capital outlay projects that needs to be done. We don't have the money to do them all, obviously. But what we need to do is take this upstairs over here that was not finished out and finish it out.
For sleeping?
And take all the stuff that's been stored up there and move it somewhere else, okay? But we've got space up there, but it'll have to be shared space between police department, WEMA, and fire department. Other questions, comments? Okay, thanks, Chief.
So are we not going to go with the repair for this, or?
If it's not repaired, would it need to be surplused? I mean, because you probably have very little use for it if it's not a,
Right, I can do absolutely nothing with it.
right.
And it would take what, $20,000 to,
20,000, yes, sir.
and what's a new pumper cost?
Brand new 500, used, we can get 150 to 300,000.
20,000 sounding better.
The 66 model truck is it worth selling, or are we keeping it just because it's historic to Watertown? I'm just asking, just a question too.
It's a little historic to Watertown. I have no personal ties with it. I would prefer that it be stored somewhere else or potentially sold to free up some more space over there.
I think if Weeman's coming in, the 66 is going out in the yard at a minimum, because we gotta have someplace for the new Weeman truck to go.
I'd say that the.
Well, they're-
To go outside.
Yeah.
They currently have a tanker that they have over there, so that will leave and then the new engine would go in its place.
Who has the tanker? The county does?
The county, yes, sir.
They didn't mention to me about taking that tanker.
Okay.
I better check on that. I don't
Yes,
know that for sure. But it wasn't a trade-off.
Okay.
But we could theoretically sell that 66 and recover money for that pump rebuild.
I had spoken with a local gentleman here. He collects fire trucks. He's in groups of collectors. Actually, when I called him the other day, he was in Pennsylvania at a show, and I asked him just kind of a ballpark figure on his opinion of what it would bring. He had kind of stated that it's not old enough to be in service, or it's too old to be in service. However, it's not old enough to bring a whole lot of value to a collector. He estimated approximately $5,000 on a high end for auction on it.
But this is the machine that works. You said it's just not dependable, but it pumps.
Yes, sir, but it's
It's just
a two-seater, it's a gas burner, it's very outdated and going down the street.
I understand it's old.
Yes,
I understand that. It's 1966. We'll put it
Yes,
at that. I understand that. The last time we got a new used engine, I was told that we would trade the 1966. We did not, and we have been using it ever since. Now, at some point in time, it's gonna die. It's probably gonna outlive me.
I would state that we should probably try to sell that to add money to fix the other pumper if we're going to fix the other pumper. Or maybe to add money to fix the upstairs, so there is a place for the new firemen to come to. If it's just really not being used. I mean, I see it used in parades and stuff, and I know that's kind of what its main core is, but it is a good looking truck.
it's
It's a good looking truck.
it's got some leaks and it'll need a brake job and a few other things to make it more dependable. It has been used just primarily as a parade piece just because of it being outdated. The tank size, the tank capacity isn't conducive to firefighting in today's.
Yeah. If the brakes don't work, it'd be dangerous to not fly to a fire with it.
Right.
But they're okay to ride in a parade where there's people on either side of the road?
Well, I'm not saying that they're going to fail as soon as it goes out, however, they have been going out.
It don't make any sense at all.
Well, we just didn't want to spend a whole lot of money on a piece that we only use in a parade, so.
So is the request tonight to spend $20,000 to fix one of the pumpers?
If that's what your decision, then yes, sir.
What are you asking us?
Do you want me to replace this, or do we want to look, or do you want me to have this fixed, or do we want to look at finding a reliable replacement that we're not spending money on?
To fix the pump or try to replace the truck.
Yes, sir. With that being said, looking into the future, at some point, we're going to continue having these issues
But that
with,
truck is the newest one of the group, right?
that is.
What's the hours on that truck versus the other trucks? I know you sent it, but I don't remember what it was.
I can't remember the specific hours.
It's probably-
According to NFPA, and that's big in the fire service, and it really just comes down to money on what a municipality is able to do as far as following NFPA. But every pumper that we have over there is out of service by NFPA standards of the 20-year rule. 15 as a mainline pumper, 5 years as a reserve pumper.
What is the truck worth that has the bad pump as it sits?
As it sits, about 70,000, or I'm sorry, with the operational pump, about 70 to 75 is what I've looked at for nearly the exact same thing. Without the pump, I would say, or with a broken pump, I would say 40 to 50,000.
Now, would that 40 or 50,000 fix that 66 and build what we need to build?
I don't know, I'm trying to figure out why we're in a hurry to sell something. I mean, we've got a building full of equipment over there. I'm hearing that we've got 2 that work. I'm hearing that we've got a county tanker. I'm hearing you've got 1 you want to fix. And I'm hearing that we've got 1 that's old and it's not dependable, but we put it in parades. That's not adding up to me, I'm sorry.
Being old don't hurt anything, does it?
I hope
I
not.
would say we're all getting older, but my opinion, if, it sounds to me like the 66 should not be being used in a parade because you're creating a liability.
It hasn't been.
Okay.
Hey, y'all, guys, I know what you want, okay? But don't talk in circles around me now. You just said it was used in parades, and now you're telling me we ain't used it in 2 years in parades. Now, it can't be both ways. Shoot straight with me, okay? Now, I hate to be that way, but I know I've been through too many government wars here, and as a county attorney, when people want something, they start talking in circles. And you gonna, I'm gonna, well, I won't say that.
Well, I apologize. My goal for this was just to provide you with information. We can do this. I'm not wanting any more equipment. We have a lot over there. And so what my plan would be to have what we need that is reliable. And then if we have excess, I would like to downsize. That is my plan.
Okay, and I'm good with all that.
Yes, sir.
But, you know, we're talking about, we keep saying something's not dependable. If you guys get on it and ride it and have a wreck and you get killed, the city's got to pay for it. So I want it to be good stuff, but most importantly, if my house catches on fire tonight, I want it to work. And what I'm hearing is we've got 2 that work and the 3rd that probably will work.
No, sir. We have 2 that are working right now.
And a third that may or may not work, you don't know until you hook it up in a fire.
That is correct. I can't tell you that if it pumps today, that it will tomorrow. And the more that it's pumped, the more that it's being worn out.
Same way with me.
Yes, sir.
When's the last time that you was pumped?
Outside of just working the pump, probably a couple months ago.
Okay, but y'all practice with it.
Just to keep the valves turned and all of that. It's a anything in this field is very expensive. If we haven't been using it if we don't need to, outside of just working the valves and making sure that nothing freezes up.
I'll recommend the $20,000 to fix the pump, so we have 3. I'll be happy to do that.
I'll make a motion that we do that, but I'd also think we need to consider
doing away with the other.
Doing away with the 66 total, taking it completely out of service, because it sounds to me like it's more of a
That's
liability.
just like the
than
police
an asset.
cars.
It's,
We have them sitting out here and they're worth a dime.
Yeah.
Why not get rid of them? We've got new ones coming, so get rid of them, we have. And we need to do the other equipment the same way.
that one is taking up space that could be used, and also to get it into better shape to where it would be more dependable would take money, but is it being used? Is it worth investing that money in? Is kind of the questions that I'm posing to you.
That's money that needs to be spent by a collector.
I
not by the
don't
city.
remember
Yes.
this being brought up about the one that's just barely working or time and all this. This is my first hearing of this.
Well, it has just been set there as a reserve, meaning
Then
that
why
it's,
haven't we been told about it to where we could do something about it? That's
well, that's my fault, and I apologize for that, but
if the equipment's not working, we need to know about it.
with it being a reserve and more of,
But still, we need to know about it.
yes, sir, I apologize.
If we get rid of it, that'll make room for the new truck that's coming from this.
My recommendation is to spend the $20,000. That's all I'm willing to, that's as far as I'm willing to go tonight and vote for. Now, we can consider the other later, but I got some questions I want answered, and I've got some records I want to see.
And that's my motion to do the repair on it. And I'm in agreement with you, Mayor, we need to look
Yep.
at our other options to maybe replace the oldest member of the fleet at some point
Yep.
in the future, but not at this point in time. I know we've got other expenses, and that's gonna be, tacking another couple hundred, 250 grand on that is not gonna be feasible.
It's not in place for it.
It's not, yeah, exactly.
We got a motion, I'll second the motion.
The motion and second is to spend, is it $20,000 exactly?
$20,681.68.
Y'all good?
Yes.
I'm good with that. Yeah.
All right.
And I apologize that a lot of this is the first time that you were hearing it. I make sure that it did get sent as far as on my end. I was hoping that,
It was there.
being that would help prepare for tonight,
It
so,
just kinda got jumbled within the.
Okay.
But it was there, yeah.
Well, I've said several times tonight, y'all do a great job, and I mean that. But I'm concerned that some of the comments have been made here tonight. If somebody's sitting out here listening or watching this on YouTube, they may think that all we've got over there is a bunch of things sitting on blocks and they ain't gonna work. And that's not so, guys. Y'all know it when you respond to a fire. Y'all know when you roll these trucks that you're working them. And so I understand the want to have a new one. I understand that. But let's don't mislead people that if our house catches on fire tonight, we can't pump water and put water on it. Because we can't. Can't we?
yes, sir. We have a pumper and two pumpers that would be doing that.
Okay. And I go back to, no, never mind. Okay. All right. Further discussion, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just, yeah.
And there's obviously gonna be some more discussion in future meetings.
Quite a bit.
Okay. We ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Get it repaired.
Yes, sir.
Who's gonna do the repair, by the way?
EVS, they are a emergency vehicle specialist that's specific to emergency vehicles. Being the pump and certification, it can't just be done at any repair shop.
You just don't want any shade tree mechanic? to do
Yes,
it?
sir.
No,
Yes, sir.
and neither do I.
Were
Yes,
they
sir.
out of Nashville or Memphis? I seen that on top of the quote either way. I didn't know which place.
They are in Nashville, and they also have an office in I think their headquarters is in Memphis, but they have an office in repair shop in Nashville.
Nashville.
Yes, sir. All right, anything else? Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Chief Fenderlight, I skipped over you, but I'll come back to you. You were first in the queue tonight.
We're glad you could make it.
It ain't no duty calls sometimes.
got a police report there. Y'all got any questions of that?
So,
I take it there's not, so move on to what you got there.
So I would like to get 3 more AR rifles for each car. I'd like to have 1 in each car due to, you know, just some of the circumstances of the school shootings and just some of the stuff that's going on, so we could have some uniformity, have some firepower. We currently have 2. Our beanbag shotguns are in. The rounds come in, so thank you. We'll get the training and get those in the cars immediately. You want to put it like a dual mount for the AR and the beanbag shotgun. For 3 of those, they're $2,007.84. We already have the ammunition. That was purchased earlier, so that would be my ask for that, for each patrol car, so the
Is
uniform.
that to come out of the extra money on the capital outlay note?
It could,
Okay.
or it could be used with what I'm fixing to ask.
Okay, go ahead and ask the other thing. Then.
All right, so also I would like to use some of the surplus money that we got for the 3 police cars.
Yes.
And like for the council to consider using some of that $10,000. We were allotted $20,000 to buy 2 used cars. We chose not to buy 2. We bought 1. I would like to use some of that money and the surplus money to outfit and buy some of these things that we need to be uniform across the board. And I think that it'd just be as simple as transferring or, you know, making a line item or switching it to that. But that was already approved in the budget. We spent 10 of the 20 for the vehicles.
What are some of the things that we're needing?
All the vehicles have to have lights and sirens. The equipment that come out of the Dodges and the Impala it's probably not going to be able to be used except for the radios. The 2 Dodges were light bar cars. They had light bars, and we're not putting light bars on the new ones, so there weren't any internal lights that would have to be put on the Tahoes. The other issue that we run into when the Tahoes come in, and hopefully I'll give you a report on that in just a minute, that the lights that are in the escape, the problem is we don't have enough vehicles to take 1 or 2 out of service to switch everything over. You know, and some of the equipment that's in the escapes we've replaced, and the wiring is not great. But, you know, again, we can make that work too, but there will be some minor things that would have to be, because the length of a Tahoe versus the length of an Escape is completely different. Well, a lot of the wiring harnesses were set up for a shorter vehicle versus a long vehicle. And some of the radar cabling and this, that, and the other is so intertwined, it's not something you can just splice, add a piece, and you really don't want to get into that either for aesthetics.
The reason I ask, I just don't think we need to spend the money because we want to. We need to spend because we need to. And if we've got the money, it's not because we can just go ahead and spend it, just because we got it.
And that makes total sense, and that's why I ask, because the vehicles were assigned to the police department, and the funds from that sale, and, you know, in my opinion, should be asserted back to the police department and not go and tax the loan that the mayor was able to get set up for the new vehicles, and not use that $10,000 buffer that he put in that to do that. And that's why I asked for it.
All right. I'm looking at, and I think y'all have it. Did y'all provide a copy of what Mike Walker provided us? The first 3 vehicles there were police vehicles. And backing out what his commission is, I have done some quick math in my head, but I think there's about $3,700 there. That will buy the 3 rifles.
Yes, sir.
And that'll leave roughly $1,600 out of that. I'm fine with recommending that the money from the sale of the surplus police vehicles be put back into the police department. I think that makes sense. Now, that leaves about $1,600. How much more do you need to put with it to do what you need to for the 3 new vehicles?
Well, I still got quotes out for outfitting them.
Okay.
And one of the quotes that come back was $23,000 for all 3 of them. So, but we also have another quote that is unbelievably a lot less, but I wanted to get all that done before. And what happens is supply and demand with some of the cages and stuff. You know, a SUV takes 2 cages versus a regular patrol car takes 1.
I thought these new cars were gonna be police equipped.
Well, they don't have the cages, and they don't, of course, they don't have the radios, but they are police equipped per them.
Yeah, it's a bigger dry shaft, high rated speed tires, a bigger cooling system, a transmission cooler add-on. There's quite a few random, just mechanical pieces for police equipment. It usually doesn't count for lights and parts. Ford offers a package that has lights, but I think it's fairly high for that.
Yeah, slightly. It was more than
Yeah,
the other quote.
and nothing's free.
So we're gonna have roughly, we got $130,000 capital outlay note. The car, each car was 39,000 and something.
So,
Let's round that up to 40. So that's 120,000 out of the 130, so we'll have 10,000 left, plus about 1,600 here. That'll be about 11,600. Can we do what we need to with it?
what we would do, if, you know, that being said, and we didn't use any of the money for the other used car, is the one that Chief Laney will drive, we just won't put a cage and put all the stuff in it. We would just make sure that the 2 that are gonna be on patrol all the time would have all the equipment.
Now, wait just a minute. We're getting 3 new cars.
Yes, sir.
2's gonna be on the road. And Laney's gonna be driving one?
Yeah, he'll be driving one when he's
Why?
here. I don't understand that question, I'm sorry. I mean, he, when he's on shift, he has to drive something.
It don't have to be a new car though.
No, it does not. I mean, we can put it on the road.
I mean, that's why we're doing this, put some vehicles on the road that's safe and,
That's accurate.
and in good shape, something for the policeman. I mean, the chief don't have to drive around in a new car.
I understand.
The way I look at it.
And I don't. I drive around in one I got
That's what I'm
donated
saying.
to us, so.
I mean, I don't drive a new car. That's
Well, I mean, you know-
absurd as far as I'm concerned.
I understand
And
that.
we're buying 3 new cars for the police.
And
And
they're,
I feel like they need to be on the road for the police and not for the chief, and I don't care who the chief is, to drive around.
okay, fair.
Well, here's what bothers me, is that we got the bids on the cars, and I think they were 39,700, something like that. But again, that's rounded up to 40. But what y'all are telling me is to make them operational for what we need is gonna cost us $50,000
Yeah.
to add all this on. If that's the case, I wouldn't have voted to do 3, I'd
No,
voted to do 2.
what I'm telling you is I didn't give you the other quotes because I don't have them, but we have one for 23, one for 15. This is for all 3 vehicles. And then I don't know what the other 2 quotes will be. It'll be the same quote that the county uses, which is the Dana Safety Supply. And then I'm still waiting on another quote for the others as well. Some of the equipment that come out of the other cars will be placed in these vehicles, radios, all the stuff that we can use for that. Now, the cages, which are about $1,500 to $2,000, that, I mean, you know, our cages won't fit, and they said they couldn't fabricate them to make them fit. So that was the, you know, I didn't, again, that's on me, but I didn't realize that we couldn't make that happen.
I'm fine with putting good, serviceable stuff, what we need in there. No sense having a new car with a halfway
I understand.
everything else. But again, if it's gonna cost $50,000 a car with these add-ons, I never would have voted for 3 of them.
No,
I'd vote for 2.
the 15,000 is for all 3 together.
So
It's
$5,000 each.
$5,000 a car, and that's why I said if we didn't equip one of them, that it would
All
save
right,
us
let's go back to my
$2,000.
math then. We got $1,600 left from the sale of the 3 vehicles roughly. Surplus. Then we've got $10,000 left over, so that gets us to 11,600. And you're saying we're gonna need 15?
12.
No, sir.
12
So
if we
that-
go with a 23.
If we went with the $15,000 bid, what I'm telling you is we have you have 11,600 left. The math would be about roughly $4,000 more.
Yeah, that's where I was headed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
When you said 50, that really threw me off a while ago, and I was like,
Okay.
yeah, it's 15,000.
45.
No, but it's not 15 per car. The 15,000
It's for all three of them. It's
all three.
4,500 to,
More per car plus 40,000 is
He's talking about
45.
total cost of
Now,
car.
I mean, this talking is.
oh, yes, okay.
I'd add subtract, guys.
You know, I
$5,000 on a $40,000 car is a $45,000 expense. And
That's
we've got
accurate.
130,000, and we've got 1,600 left from this, so that gets us to,
11,600.
yeah, so we need another $3,400.
That's, yes.
I don't understand why this added expenses is us now. When we ordered new cars and they said they were ready, that's, to me, is they're ready. And now we're coming back with all the expenses that they're not ready. They're not police cars, or they're not set up to be police cars.
They're sold
It looks
as,
like we could have found that out on the top, on the front end, instead of having to come in and buy the stores and place down.
okay, that's fair, but they are police vehicles with the police package on them.
But they don't have it.
Well, I mean, if
They
we
don't have
wanted
the
to
police package.
spend for Ford to put them on, that's accurate. But I think if you go back and look at some of the minutes, we did discuss that we would try to use the equipment out of the other cars to circumvent some charges. So, I mean, you know, that in itself would tell you that, hey, they're not gonna have everything
Yeah,
that's on
I
there.
do recall that conversation, and I think it is in the minutes that,
I don't remember their comments.
We did talk about using original equipment out of what we could use.
That's accurate.
And the rest of it will surplus.
That's
We
accurate.
didn't know what we could
And,
use.
and plus, when we sell the Escapes, you know, that'll be, more that you could replace anything that you put in it for, because, you know, the Escapes will bring a decent amount of money apiece, and they would be able to be surplus as soon as we get everything out of them and switched over to the new things.
When everything is said and done, we've got one new one in, we're waiting on the other two.
Yes,
still.
sir.
When everything is said and done and we've taken out offline what we want to take offline, how many police vehicles will we have?
So, 5.
Okay. And we'll have no more than probably 3 officers working a shift.
That's
So
accurate.
we'll be in good shape.
The most we've ever had is 4,
Okay.
and some special occasions, but that is accurate.
So everybody will have a vehicle
Yes, sir.
if we have to have 4 officers, okay?
That's accurate.
So, let me see if I can, bear with me here. We're gonna need 5,000 more per car, roughly, 15,000. 1,600 is, left over from the surplus. That gets us down to 13,400. 10,000 is left over from the capital outlay note, that gets us to 3,400. You want us to go ahead and spend that, and then we surplus these other things, that money should replace the 3,400.
Oh, that's
You
accurate.
think we'll get that much?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay.
how many Escapes do we have?
We have 2.
Well, we surplus them too.
Yes. Yep.
That sounds better.
Yeah, I think that's,
I just think that that's an easier way, and especially when we surplus the other cars, then it would replace the money and probably even still have money left over to put back in the general fund.
Yeah, the only downside to it, it's not really a downside, is we're gonna spend the money out of this year's budget, and the surplus vehicles sale probably gonna come into next year's budget. But that's just the quirk of the calendar, there's nothing we can do about that.
and that's also due to logistics of having to keep the Escapes in service until you can at least get one of the new ones.
We've got one,
Yeah, we do have one in. It's super nice, very nice.
so if we approve this tonight, you can go ahead and get it ready and get it operational.
That's accurate. Tomorrow, I told Mr. Bill, he's got to have it at the radio shop to install the radios and stuff, you know, because that's stuff we had here. So,
April, have we got it on our insurance, the new vehicle?
yes.
So if he wrecks it on the way down there.
Oh, Lord, Mayor, don't say that. I
I
know.
Well, let me tell you,
I didn't take it off the lot in Wilson County until I made sure,
Well,
so.
I know that, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna tell them a conversation that you and I shared. I'm looking in next year's budget for as much money as I can find to take care of employees. I shared that with you.
Yes.
And, you know, I understand buying vehicles and fire trucks and all that stuff, but a fire truck or a police car ain't worth a nickel if you ain't got somebody to drive it.
That's right.
And we need to have our employees taken care of.
Yep.
And I'm gonna be looking, so any place, if anybody in the sound of my voice can save money, if you're thinking about spending $1,000 and you can get something for $700, that's $300 we're gonna have to put on. Now, that's not a lot of money, I'm just using that as an example. That's what I'm looking for. That's my priority in next year's budget, I'll just tell you.
Well, I mean, I talked to them because, you know, there was supposed to be a COVID or some kind of increase, and they were going to be more, but they honored the original contract
Yeah,
from
I'm
2020,
looking for it.
and we
Now
got
we figured out a way
2023s.
I think we figured out a way to do it, so.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna bring us back to the table here. I'm gonna ask for a motion to approve the purchase of 3 AR rifles to go in each one of the new vehicles at an expense of $700 apiece, would be $2,100. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, is there such a motion?
I'll say,
Hang on a second, let me say, in paying out of these surplus vehicle funds.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Second.
all right, discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, then I'm gonna ask for a motion to spend the rest of the surplus from the police cars, what's left over from the capital outlay note, and make up the difference up to a total of $15,000. Will that do it?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Discussion? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. You want to share with them what you told me about what your plans are for the officers in relation to schools?
Oh, yes,
Are you
yes.
willing to do that?
Yeah, and, you know, the ARs were a part of that, but what I plan on doing is making it mandatory for one of our officers every day to go through every school, every day. That, you know, that they're in school, do a walkthrough. We've had some group meetings with the county, every law enforcement official, every EMS official, all that. They're going to do some things that are really amazing that's going to help us and help the kids per se. So I think that that's going to be an amazing venture. You know, normally we were never not welcome, but it was just locked up and they had their SRO there. But with the recent stuff that's happened and Sheriff Bryan and Chief Howell and Chief Hale, I mean, you know, and the help of the school system, Mr. Luttrell knows it's going to be an amazing process for us that we can go in, we can look, we can walk through, talk to the kids, and you know, at the end of the day, the Sheriff's Department's great. They're great at what they do and they respond. We don't have 10 minutes. We don't have 15. We're there in less than a minute. We can't sit in the parking lot. And that's no dive, no negative mark on anybody. We got to go in. That's the end of it. We got to have the stuff to go in, meet force with force.
We got to be first.
Yeah, so, you know, they need to be familiar with the schools, and the purpose of all this is to get them familiar with the schools, the layout. You could look at a map. Some people could look at things all day and not figure it out when you get in there. You know, in my philosophy, hey, you're going in every day. We're going to walk down every hall. We're going to do this or that. And, you know, probably should have been that way from the start, but it will be that way going forward. So that's part of it, to give back.
And I'll just say this for what it's worth, but our high school and our middle school are elevated where you can see them from the road. But when the county built that elementary school, I spoke against putting it down in that hole because it's not, the back part of that school is not visible from, and somebody could go in there and do some damage.
Yep.
And not be seen by a passerby or somebody at a house.
Well, you wouldn't see
I think
it,
this
right?
is a great idea for you to do that.
I think in addition to, learning the layout of the building, it also gives our officers an opportunity to build a rapport with the kids, some visibility, because there's a lot of mentality in our younger generations where the police are the bad guys.
Yes, you're accurate.
And this is a way to build that rapport with the community, with the younger generation that, hey,
Right.
we're here to help.
Yes, that's accurate too. And it goes back to the part of, I have applied for some different grants, one of them being a community relations involvement grant. And, it goes hand in hand with that. I don't mean we'll get it, but, again, there's going to be some more grant monies coming up from Governor Lee's, some different grants that, he's really trying to do and put some stuff back in schools and this, that, and the other. So, hopefully we can capitalize on that as well.
Y'all, bear with me here. Did we vote on that last motion?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Unanimous.
Hal's already mentioned the age factor, so I'll go ahead and on that too.
On those new ARs, do you already have like optics and other like that?
No, because when you get into the optics, it's so expensive, and what you get is, everybody may not have, what if they're not in the same car, and the optics on this one's sighted for this one, so, just standard metal steel sights is what we have that comes with them. The new ARs that we just priced are from Craig's Firearms. That's where we buy 99% of our stuff, and just steel sights, and they're Rugers.
I didn't know if they were like assigned to a certain person or if they just
No,
kind of went with the car kind of deal.
So you just I'm trying to have it uniformity, like like tonight, the mayor comes in, he wants to drive a white one, he can get in a white one, and tomorrow it'd be the same layout with the same gun, the same setup,
Gotcha.
everything. And plus it helps us liability wise as well, and that, that's a major factor, making sure, hey, everything's the same, everybody's shooting the same gun, same round,
Right.
this, that, and the other.
All right. Anything else? Anything else?
No, I just wanted to touch, I didn't hear anything that the Chief Hahn said, but I wanted to touch on what you said about the upstairs and stuff. That would be an amazing process for us even, because, we need somewhere where we can train. A lot of times, City Hall, I'm here for traffic school. I really need somewhere else to do it because there's so many days throughout the year with elections, different things that, we put this stuff off. It doesn't have to be some crazy elaborate thing, but we need something as well at some point just to be able to maintain what we do. Plus, there's a lot of time, we might go 2 months and not have court because of something that's here or this, that, and the other, and you get, 2 or 3 months behind on court, and you got 120 issues that the judge has got to deal with.
Yeah.
So, that was all I wanted to just,
All right.
whatever it did.
Appreciate it.
Oh, the other thing, nobody said anything to me, but the building has been painted on our side, and it looks amazing. And maybe next year, if you had a couple, just a little bit extra money, maybe finish the yellow around that side and that side, I think it would just make the whole building look different. If you look at our side, it's not yellow, but it is amazing, matches the bricks and all that stuff.
That can be something we can do when we start getting ready to work on that included in part of the bid.
Yeah, I think that would be, it would really make the whole building look different and better.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
that's it for me.
Mine too. Remind me of that.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Dale, you've sat patiently. The good news is you'll be first next time.
All right. I don't have a whole lot for you tonight.
Hallelujah.
We did have some problems with our main pump station during Easter weekend, but I've got those remedied for now, and hopefully we'll get some new pumps in soon.
Let me ask you a question about the pump station down here on, what is it that goes out to the dump? What's the name of it?
Commerce.
Commerce Avenue?
Yeah. Commerce Avenue.
Commerce Avenue?
Does that stay locked up?
Yes, it stays locked up.
Who has the key to it?
I have a key and Bob has a key.
Anybody else
I
got a key?
think there's a key in City Hall, but I don't think there's anybody else has a key to it.
Now, I'm talking about the
Little
station out here where you go
Yeah,
down
go
the
down
ladder.
the
It's
steps.
pretty deep.
Yeah, that's the
I went
main
down there
pump
one time with your daddy.
Yeah.
swore I'd never go again.
About 20 feet deep.
Yes, about
inside.
20 feet deep. And there's no problem going down.
Yeah.
Coming
yeah.
up's the problem. So yourself, City Hall,
And Bob has the key.
and
too.
Bob.
Yeah.
Okay. You sure about that? I want to make sure.
I'm
I
pretty
trust
sure,
you.
there may
I'm
be
not
other
questioning
keys
you.
around, but
I want to make sure. I have a reason for asking.
Yeah, there
But
may
I'm
be
not
other
sure.
keys around, but those are the ones that I know of that are around.
Well, there's one way to resolve that, if we need to, change the law. If there's a concern that someone else has a key and is in there when they shouldn't be.
Well, I have a real concern.
I have,
about
the worker I have, Michelle has a key also. She's been through City Hall, City Council a few times. Michelle Cox, she works for me, she
Yeah,
has a key,
yeah.
yeah.
that. Well, I'm not
Yeah.
saying anything toward you or Michelle,
Okay.
okay? But, okay. Anything else? Anybody got any questions?
So what was the problem Easter weekend?
We had, where there's a patch in one of the pumps where it was leaking, the patch came out, those rags got inside the impeller and knocked the patch out. And there is a submersible pump that's in the wet well, but the water coming through the pump where the patch came out, the submersible pump wasn't keeping up with it. And it filled up with about 15 or 16 feet of water in it. And I had to pump it out with some gas pumps in order to get down to repair to clean out and repair the pumps again, so.
Have we heard on the timeline, because I know we approved the purchase of some.
Yeah, we did approve the purchase and ordered them. I don't have any more information. It was several months, back ordered.
It's been a couple
because
months.
they had to manufacture the pumps, but I haven't heard anything else on those yet.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Dale, Miss Lily. Thank you. All right, let's go through some things. Everybody good? We've been going for about an hour and a half now. Restrooms, y'all had a chance to look at them?
Have not.
They have been working over here. The senior citizens, of course, committed, $3,800, something like that. But then they said they would commit up to $6,000. And we voted last time to do the work to make them ADA compliant and also to improve them. So they have torn out the old tile that's been in there since the original part of the building, 1977. And they're gonna really look nice. Now they're gonna cost more than $6,000, but we've got some money put away for facilities, so. But I just wanted to update that. Right now, the men's restroom is functional, the women's is not, so we would have to share it tonight. Talked about the police cars. We did a capital outlay note. The state requires us for me to report to you a CT0253 report on debt obligation. Does that not sound like government? But the purpose of the report is to let you know, and do I have that with me?
Closer to the front next to your mic. No,
Okay, well, I can talk while I'm hunting. To report to you the amount, any money that was spent, thank you, Steve, that was spent, in addition to it. We spent no money in addition to it as far as legal fees and that type of thing. The bank rate's 5.25%. It's a $130,000 5-year capital outlay note, and if you'll flip over on the second page, the annual debt payment each year will be $30,235.88. And that's a level year, 5-year thing that'll pay it off. So I'm required to read that into the minutes, and we've done that, so it doesn't require any action because we've already borrowed the money. Very good, Steve. Thank you. We talked about the surplus property. I think y'all got a report there, but you will see that in addition to the police cars we've talked about, We sold several things. The backhoe brought $1,100. The Chevy dump truck, the 67, brought $1,575, and then some scrap and that type of thing. So the total sale brought us 68, 61, 62.
I was gonna say, I was looking at the other day when I drove by the city workers building right there.
Uh-huh.
Is the one Chevy truck all they have left? Where they can get around and move stuff around, or is there another vehicle for them?
I'm glad you said that. That jogs my memory, and Mike, I'm glad you're still here. They have the one city truck.
Yeah, the Chevrolet like that one.
And Bob would like to have one of the escorts, escapes,
Yes,
to
sir.
use as a city vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's driving his car around.
We'll take care of that when he gets ready to get rid of those.
We're gonna have to take the lights off of it.
Yes, absolutely.
We don't want to give
Probably
Bob
put a
lights.
governor on it, don't you think?
Bobby be using them.
Like I said, we don't want to give Bob lights.
That's a good point, Larry.
Especially not red lights, blue lights.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I just know that the other trucks get used for everything. So.
Yeah,
And then I seen him lugging stuff out of his Taurus one day over there.
he does.
Yeah, that's-
So he asked me the other day, and I'm glad you
Yeah, that's hard.
jogged my memory on that.
Dragging sewer
It is.
out of it.
Larry, is the guy still willing to come to the next meeting on the retirement thing?
Steve has been working with him, and I believe so.
Yes.
Okay.
It's on his calendar for May
16th.
16th, yes.
Okay. All right, the MTS code, Cal, you asked about it last time.
Yeah.
April and I have not had the full opportunity to go through it, but we will. It's 280 something pages, so it takes a little while. But I'd hope to do it by this
All right,
time.
yeah, I don't mind. I'll come read if y'all need some help.
Well,
Fish out.
we may take you up on that somewhere down the road. And then I don't want to steal his thunder, but I want to say thanks to Steve Casey and from the Lebanon Outlet Mall contribution. Tell them what you got. This man did it.
I was not able to help with the moving of it. From my understanding, we picked up a little over 20 park benches, somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 trash cans that are the metal aluminum containers. And Jeff Tonks and his John Jewell, in their process of moving all that, they acquired additional stuff. I think there were 2 Christmas trees, several of the little tables that were in the food court, and they've got apparently Stippers over here is giving us use of one of their trailers for storing all that till. I know the chamber is looking at making use of some of those additional items. I think there was some a podium and some riser stands that can be used for like Christmas programs. Anyway, there were several other items that I don't know the details on that got thrown in with the deal when we were helping them clean house up there.
Some of that may be used for the renovation over here, the tables and
Yeah.
chairs and all that.
I mean, yeah, like I said, they've got some extra of those tables at the food court. I don't know if they got any of the chairs, but still, the living quarters that could be in an eating area that could easily be, tables for, but like I said, I found out at Tuesday morning's, joint JDC meeting that the chambers got that in storage over at one of the shippers' trailers.
Okay.
Right now, and so we came out pretty good on that transaction.
Appreciate your work on that too.
No problem.
That was absolutely free of charge, other than the sweat hour, the sweat line.
Right, other than the sweat equity, there was no expense in that.
Yep. All right, got a few items of new business. The legislature has just approved a Juneteenth holiday, a state holiday, for June 19 of each year. This year it falls on a Monday. So I have proposed an ordinance that adds it to our personnel policy as a paid city holiday. So I'm asking you to approve that on first reading.
A motion to approve it.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion on that? We'll meet again to do second reading before June, obviously, so. Everybody ready to vote? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, y'all one step closer to getting another holiday. You have a flyer, you got it there on top, Cal. Some folks want to have a tent revival here in July. We have cooperated with those folks in the past. They do have attached to it a certificate of their liability insurance, and they're asking to meet here for 5 nights, July 23 through 28. And Freedom Evangelistic Ministries. I'm not familiar with them, but they have been calling and talking to the ladies in the front office and appear to be what they say they are. So I have no problem recommending that to you. My understanding is they're going to be across the creek. Is that where they're going to be?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So I guess we need to approve them using the property for that period of time.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Their certificate of insurance, I think we need to be listed as an additional insured on that. And I don't see that on this document. Yeah.
I think, Steve, they just sent it in to show they had insurance.
Right.
And, yeah, but you're right, it needs to be an additional.
We'll need
insurance.
one where we're specifically on the certificate.
Yeah. And I'm not familiar with this insurance company, but not that it makes any difference.
The Holy Spirit.
Is it what?
The Holy Spirit.
Certificate of liability,
That's the big one, ain't it?
is to 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
May need to make sure that it actually is still up to date, because it's 12/7 of 22.
Yeah, if it's good for a year, it
Yeah.
should be okay, but it doesn't say on there, does it?
No, I didn't see a
All right,
time holding.
We'll check on that too.
Yeah, these are normally a 12-month certificates. That's the
Yeah.
industry standard.
We'll check on that too. Did I have a motion to do that? Is there a motion to approve this?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye. Opposed?
Where's this gonna be at?
On the back side over here, Hal, in the
Oh,
big
okay.
open spot over there.
That won't be any way of anything else that's happening.
I wouldn't think so that time of year. That's the hottest time of year. And our little football teams will be practicing over here. You know, they practice in the outfield, so I think we're okay on those. Okay. Let me get reorganized here. We have made a claim with our insurance company for the roof repairs at City Hall. They have agreed to cover the expense. The emergency expense was $1,352 to secure the roof. And then we have an estimate from Gerald Emerson Construction, and they will do the repairs to the roof, $43,550. The insurance company's gonna pay that. What they won't pay is the where the brick is pulling away from the building and the treatment for mold. We don't have any mold coverage, but the discussion April and I had with him Monday morning was that he was going to try to find as much as he could, maybe up to a half under our policy by calling it something else. So maybe back at you to get some money for that. We have some money on the certificate of deposit, very small amount, but we put it aside several years ago for repairs to property. I think it will cover this. But that doesn't require any action right now, but I'll keep you posted on that. But I'll keep you posted on that. We got, when we bought when the turntable was delivered here, we didn't buy the turntable, it was given to us, but it was given to the Chamber of Historic Watertown. Historic Watertown has given us a bill of sale for it. They don't want to be the owner anymore of the turntable, and since it's sitting down here on our property, the bill of sale will transfer it to us. So I recommend that we accept this. And of course, we'll have to have it if we get a grant. So, I need a motion from somebody to accept it.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Discussion, comments? Yes, sir.
So if we accept the motion, it's not ours currently.
It's not.
But if someone were to get hurt on it and we do own it, then it is ours.
It is, but if they get hurt on it now because it's on our
So
property,
it doesn't matter.
they'd come out
So
to
it's
us.
irrelevant, okay.
Warriors trying to do the shotgun approach, so you get
I
everybody.
figured that, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I stubbed my toe on it.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, let me sign this while I'm thinking about it. 426. Becky Taylor will be glad to hear this because I've had this for about 3 months. Okay. It will be time to do this year's audit soon, and our auditor has presented us a contract to audit the accounts. The state has made a little change in the contract and the chart of accounts, and they have added something called the municipal chart of accounts crosswalk, and he's added $100 in for that. His audit fee is up a little bit to $5,900, so the total audit fee would be $6,000. What did we pay this year, ladies? Was it $5,500 or $5,500? So it's up $500. We can bid that if you want to, but it'll cost us probably that much to bid it. So, yeah, that's him, John Poole, I'm sorry. And he's done us a good job, to my knowledge. So, hadn't put us in jail yet. Hadn't put me in jail yet. So. Okay, I'm gonna recommend that audit contract to you. Don't leave me.
I'll motion. I'll second.
All right, y'all making me work. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. I mentioned to you a while ago a list of capital outlay projects that I see that need to be done for the city of Watertown. I'm going to give you a copy of what I prepared. It does not require any action. I don't want any action on it. I just want you to be aware of what we've got both facing us and things that need to be done over the years. So, and I do not have the proposal for the fire stuff that was presented tonight. I will add that to it. We're not approving anything here tonight. I'm just trying to update you, and you will see on the number 4, completion of the second floor of the Watertown Wilson County Public Works Building. That needs to be done and will have to be done. And then you pass these down to you, Steve, you and I. There you go. And I would have got that to you sooner, but I just put that together today about 2 o'clock. We'll take that and peruse it. If you can think of other things that need to be added to it, we will do that. But, of course, any type of money to be spent will be spent on individual projects on an individual vote before this council. Your budget report this month looks good. I have 1 or 2 questions about it, but those are things that we'll just dig into a little bit and find out. All the property taxes this year for current, we have collected 96.2%. That's a pretty good collection rate because I base my budget on 94% collection. So that's pretty good. That includes current property taxes, public utilities, and real and personal property taxes. And so, and also our local sales tax is really performing well. And that's good for our merchants and for us. Next meeting will be May 16th, and I sure hope we can stick to that. I know I have created problems the last 2 months, and I apologize for that. I'll try to avoid that as much as possible in the future, but we need to meet in May, and I need to be getting a budget done, and I will go to work on that. Before I go around the table, IT guys, we got anybody wanting to know anything? Got anybody asking questions or anything? No. All right, I'm trusted. If y'all hear one, let me know, okay? And I won't keep asking. All right, Hal, start on your side tonight.
I haven't got anything.
All right, Steve?
I got one question and then one item. My question for you is, when are we gonna put out the bid for the, I know we got the easements right of ways for the sewer. When do we expect to be bidding that?
I expected to have the easements done tonight. I have agreed with one, and they have already signed the easement. The other one I thought I had an agreement with, and I got thrown a curve this morning that said they wanted more money. So, and he tried to call me this afternoon, and I couldn't get the call, so I'm gonna discuss that with him. But
Okay, so the easements aren't really a done deal yet?
I thought they were until about 9 o'clock this morning.
Okay.
But one of them is, but the other one is not. And that's the one I thought I had all along, to be honest with you. I don't want to name any names tonight. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. We'll have some discussion on that.
Okay. The other item I had, and I guess I'm wanting to present this kind of as a motion. Last month, we had one of our citizens come to us about sidewalks. And she made reference to the multimodal transportation grant through the state, which is I forget if it's a 90 or 95% grant. There's either 5 or 10% match. The intent application period opened today, 4/26. It ends on 5/16. And I'm hoping, or you may be answering, can we get Steve Smart? I know we have Steve Smart on some type of retainer or something for grants. Do we think it would be possible to get him to make a submission to potentially look at doing our sidewalks along Main Street? And I'm thinking from the elementary school to the railroad tracks on the east end of town.
So I looked into that, and I had a lady that I know that does grants for the state as well look into it, and you can have him look at it if you want to, but she told me that after she looked into it, that it has to be on a state road. So I don't know if that would include Main Street.
I don't know,
But I mean, that's just from what I was told, but I mean, I'm all for looking forward to it, but I just want to let you know.
I know from looking at, they had some history on the website, because I was looking at that.
Yeah.
And both Hartsville and Lebanon have gotten money the last 2 years. Now, I don't know if they were on state roads or not, but I know Hartsville did a lot of work around their town square.
I don't know that either. Lebanon's done a lot of work on their sidewalks over the years.
Right.
And I don't know if it's one of those things too, where that's just kind of a suggestion on there, and they may, you know.
The folks that were here last time and talked about it, either the next day or the next day, I got a call, I'm sure coincidentally, from the state of Tennessee, wanting to know why we weren't fixing sidewalks.
I don't know if that was totally coincidental, but anyway.
Well, I'm being
Optimistic.
fair, yeah. So I communicated with this lady, and we agreed to talk about it. And we have not scheduled that meeting yet. I have no problem going ahead and trying to file the application.
I guess my thought on this is because the intent application period opened today and it ends in 3 weeks on our next meeting, June 16th.
Yeah.
Or May 16th. If we could get Steve Smart to look at it and if nothing else, submit the intent application, we can always, if we get turned down, we get turned down. And
I'll talk to Steve about that.
I realize we have an issue with trying to figure out the ownership, but if we were to get the grant, I'm thinking we could potentially approach individual property owners and get some type of consent or something to allow us.
We'd have to have an easement.
Yeah, we'd have to have an easement and
I
get
mean, if
them.
you already have a sidewalk, I mean, in your yard, you would think you would be fine with getting a new sidewalk.
Right, but right now that sidewalk is not on an easement for the city.
Right.
We'd have to legally get that easement. But anyway, but that is my suggestion that we do. We try to pursue this,
Okay.
multimodal transportation grant.
And you're putting that in the form of a motion.
I'm putting that in the form of a motion.
Not on all the roads, just some.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Is there discussion?
What portion, did you say a certain portion of Main Street? What you
Well,
said?
I was thinking from the elementary school on the west end of town to the railroad tracks, or Holmes Gap, whatever on the east end of town. Because there's several sections along Main Street. You got some good sections, you got some bad sections. All of it wouldn't have to be redone because it's in good shape, but at least.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Other questions, comments? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Anything else, Steve?
In April, I sent you an email on March 23rd that had a link to that application at the state site, which you may need to forward to Mr. Smart.
Steve, I'll talk to him. If he can't do it, I will try to get with somebody from the Greater Nashville Regional Council. They've provided assistance in the past and see if they would do it for us. But I will pursue it.
Yeah, but like I said, the link is in that email that's dated March 23rd.
Okay. All right. Miss Laura is absent, but she said she didn't have anything tonight. Her daughter had a makeup game at Smith County tonight, and I think Laura drives the bus, I believe. Kyle?
Since we are repairing and fixing the old city hall building, I was thinking something earlier. You said they were having trouble sharing the spot for court dates and things like that. Is there a possible way to use part of that building for some of that, since it's not really used?
There is, except the only thing is we'll have to make it ADA compliant.
It's a big upstairs closet.
Yeah, and what I was thinking about for storage was we gotta have something with all this stuff that's over here. Fire department's got stuff in there, Parks has got stuff in there. I don't know what police does or not, but there's all kinds of stuff just scattered around everywhere up there. And if we could get that out, and so we could fix that, but that's
How
something.
big is the bottom? I've only really looked at the top, and I've only seen the entrance to the garage area. What else is downstairs?
That's where the police department used to be. In the front part there was a little waiting room and dispatch, and then there was a desk back there for whatever officer was on duty. And then years ago, Hal Roberts will remember this, I don't think he was ever in there, but there used to be an old jail back there.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was very similar to what you see on Andy Griffith. And, but it was there. And when the city did away with that, I believe Mike Hunter got the boss.
Oh,
I believe he did.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought about that when I seen we were already gonna be repairing it, so if there was some way to hold somebody.
He put somebody in jail, he had power of our cars, he'd just come out. It's simple. He doesn't do 2 or 3 bolts and he'd just walk out.
Sometimes they were out of there quicker than got in. But that, I was just thinking that downstairs, I don't know if there's enough room to
Yeah.
city court there or not.
I've seen the up, but I haven't seen the down. I've
Yeah,
just seen the
get
entryway.
Bob somebody to- Historical. It's rough.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's rough.
Yeah,
All right. Anything else?
that's all for me.
Caleb?
Yeah, anything.
What?
Yeah, I said it there. I ain't got anything.
Did you say I hadn't missed anything?
I said I don't have anything.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I thought I missed stuff all the time, buddy. Larry?
I wanted to find out how we go about discussing, and you brought it up earlier, but as far as the details, like you said, you're gonna be looking for things in the budget to help city employees. When it comes time to have those discussions, are those held in an open forum? I mean, you don't disclose personal information if it gets down to that level of a discussion, right? I mean, so how do we discuss it?
Well, you discuss it here, and I won't discuss individual salaries. I will discuss the additional money it will take to upgrade their salaries.
Okay,
But the salaries are public records. I mean,
okay,
you can get them.
that's what I was wondering.
But I try not to disclose that.
Right,
But what I do is, April and Lisa provide me a list of current employees, what they're making, and then figure out what, as a budget, we can do. Something I've mentioned to Chief Hinderlight and to Steve last night, and that is, all 3 of us would like to see the retention bonuses stay. And instead of doing them twice a year, doing them once a quarter. That means there'll be smaller bonuses, but you get your money more often. and then, as much raise as we can give.
And that's what I was getting at, is if we're going to discuss raises, how do we do that? in
We'll do
the
it
public
right here.
forum? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll bring you a budget. The law requires me to bring you a budget. And then at that point in time, y'all discuss anything you want to in here. And then ultimately, it takes 2 votes, first and second reading with a public hearing in between. We usually do the public hearing on the night of the second reading. Usually by that time, it's a done deal as far as we're concerned. The hard work is doing the budget and then making any adjustments y'all might suggest on the first reading.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean you couldn't discuss it right up to the time we vote on the second reading.
Okay, I was just unclear on how that worked, because I know there's like certain rules of conduct associated with what you discuss, and I didn't want to inadvertently run afoul.
No, you'll be fine on that.
Okay.
But I'm looking for money.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, we've got employees here who've been very loyal, been here, some of them 30 years, a little longer. We've got police officers that have been here 7, 8, 10 years. And then we've got others that have been here 3 or 4 years that seem to be okay with being here, but they're like everybody else. They need a little encouragement to have more money.
Sure, and the cost of living doesn't help.
It
right?
doesn't. No, we need to get out in front, not just the cost of living.
Yeah.
And I think we all understand we need to get out in front of that situation or we're gonna have a problem down the road.
Yeah,
Yeah, you keep revisiting the same topic because of the same reasons.
yeah, yeah. Anything else, Doug?
No, sir, that's all I had. Thank you.
Good question. Anything else from anybody?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Last week or a couple weeks ago, remember we had the call from the vice mayor from Carthage
Yeah,
that was asking about the park benches. And we said we had to bring it before the council.
yeah.
He was asking for maybe 2 to 4, if that was possible, because he was wanting to know, whenever he called, he thought he could just, I don't know how he found out, but he was asking how he could get a couple of the park benches that came from that Lebanon Outlet Mall. And I don't know how he found out about it, but he was wanting to know how he could get a couple of them.
About $4,000 a piece make up for what we got on that police call.
Police car, yeah. Or send us police equipment.
Make a trade.
Yeah. I'll defer to you on that. Steve.
Well, my main reason for when I saw those were available and I made the contact and negotiated this, I was attempting to negotiate a purchase and it ended up being a donation. My thought was we were gonna need all the benches we could possibly have when we put in the round table down the road because we're gonna increase our park space and our public use space over there. So I don't know that,
If there's any available, then if he calls me tomorrow, I'll just say,
right now, I'm not inclined to say that there's any available because we got too many future projects. And my thought was we would need those items in that park space. It's gonna get generated with the turntable. So, and we need to hang on to them. Otherwise, we're gonna have an expense down the road we don't.
And also, didn't John Jewell tell us that the Jazz Festival was gonna move over onto that lot?
Yes.
Yes,
And they may need some over there.
yes. So, right now, I don't, like I said, we got about 20, but that's not, I'm not willing to give them 25% of it if I have to make that call.
Well, I'm with you.
No, that's.
All right. Anything else? Anybody? All right, I'll take that motion. Thank you. Caleb knows what it is. Y'all have a good evening.